I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
We are live. Good morning, everyone.
That didn't take long. He cut you off right away this week.
I timed it perfectly. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the morning show. We're up and about, and we're happy as always to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the love. Head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis, please, and find yourself a package that works for you and help support this little community that we've built over here. Actually, that Pantelis has built. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this YouTube channel and help it grow even more. It's fucking astronomical. I think he just surpassed 40,000 subscribers.
I think so. That's his new slogan. The Pantelis Comedy Network. It's fucking astronomical.
Yeah, that's catchy.
Yeah, 40,448.
That's great.
There you go. There you go. Fucking little man doing big things. Poseidon over there producing the podcast as always. I am Poseidon.com, the Poseidon69 on all social media platforms. And like always, I'm here with the great one, Ted Bird, co-host of Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast, coming soon, ladies and gentlemen. Just one more month. Be patient, and new episodes are up. And you can check him out every morning, or listen to him rather, on, what's the station again?
Light 106.7 in Hudson, Quebec, and Light 98.5 in Ottawa, Ontario.
If ever you do listen to radio.
Some people still do.
Yeah.
Even though Bell says it's not a viable business anymore, I think it can be. If it plays to its strengths, radio is still an effective medium.
How many people got canned by Bell?
Last time around was 4,800, I think.
God damn.
Yeah.
They went on a purge, man.
Yeah.
What's the fucking problem, Ted?
Well, the problem is...
Why can't we have competent media companies?
Because they're run by people who run their businesses strictly by spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And media is not something that you can run strictly by spreadsheet, because media it's the art of communication, right? And that also involves emotion.
Yeah.
And thinking and connecting with people. And you don't connect with people via a spreadsheet.
Right.
So you have to have, and this is what the old radio companies had, a balance between the business end and the creative end of the business. You know, you play to both of their strengths. And when families like the Slate family, who own Standard Broadcasting, and the Waters family, who own Chum Broadcasting, were running the majority of the radio stations across the country, they ran them effectively, and radio was an effective and successful medium. But those families both sold to major corporations, which I would too. If someone said to me, I got a check here for $1 billion.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
You can have those radio. Yeah, and they were, by that time, the guys who were Jim Waters and Gary Slate, who were running the companies that their fathers founded, they were moving towards retirement age.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they didn't have their own children who wanted to move into the business, so they sold. And they sold to corporations who made it all corporate, right? And at the same time, the internet comes along and digital media starts to bite into traditional media. So the forces of nature were aligned against traditional media, in particular radio, and it has suffered ever since, as has television.
Yeah.
Television has suffered because of streaming services. Newspapers have suffered because
Everything
you don't
is
need
mobile.
a newspaper now. You can just go on this fucking thing
Yeah.
and get all the information you need. But I believe, and I don't think I'm alone, that traditional media still has a place, but it has to play to its strengths and it has to adjust to the change in the playing field. Radio, for example, if radio sticks to being local and intimate and immediate, it can be successful
Right.
still. Because that's what made radio, that's what's always made radio good as a medium. Local, immediate, and intimate. And there are radio owners and entrepreneurs out there still who believe in that and who play to radio's strength that way. They're not going to have success on the scale that radio once did.
Yeah.
When it was the only game in town, because now it competes against digital media and music streaming services and podcasts, but it can still have success. And there are still radio stations out there demonstrating that.
Let's hope they'll be able to bounce back. I mean, I was never a huge fan of the radio anyway. I mean, it's always playing. And like I've mentioned many times, I listen mostly to French radio, which is a completely from what you've told me.
Well, every time I get in your car, you've got Paul Arcand on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
I listen to Paul. I've been listening to Paul
yeah.
Arcand since I started working in politics. So since 2007, it's my go-to in the
His
morning.
show is the most listened to radio program in the country, and
It's
it does
insane.
extremely well. Like
Yeah.
that show, and it's local,
Yeah.
right? It deals local in terms of Quebec.
Yeah.
It deals strictly with Quebec, and he's such a big talent. You combine that, add that element to the formula, a very talented broadcaster, and you can have success, and they do. When TV came along in the 1950s, everyone was going, oh, that's it. That's the end of radio. Radio continued to thrive,
Yeah.
and I think it still can. It just has to adjust to the new reality, that's all.
It'll be interesting to see if this time around they could actually make it, because like you said, everything is going mobile. If you're going to listen to something, you're going to have it on your phone directly. If it's going to be a podcast, you're going to
But you can listen to radio on your phone.
Yeah, but that's where I was going. That's the point I was going. I was going to get to. If you're going to listen to something on your phone, are you going to choose a radio station, or are you just going to go straight to your playlist? That's the big question, because I mean, in the car, you tune. Even now, most of the time, when we're in the other car, it connects right away on my phone, so I have the playlist. You can do the podcast, so I listen less to the radio in the other car than I do in this one, just because it's easier, the connectivity. But who would choose radio station?
I'm the same. I listen to my playlists all the time and podcasts, but I think radio's strength still lies in drive time, morning drive time and afternoon drive time.
Yeah.
When people are getting up in the morning, like I would rather listen to the radio in the morning than a playlist,
Right.
because I want to get some information with the music. It helps set the tone for the day. And a good local broadcaster will tell you what's going on in your community. He'll put a smile on your face with a couple of jokes. Maybe he'll piss you off. I piss people off sometimes, but that's...
It takes a special human being to wake up at fucking 3 or 4 in the morning and to go into the studio and just smile and make... You can't do the morning show and come on and say... All right,
Well, you can't be grumpy.
everyone.
No, you can't be grumpy. That's for
Another
sure.
Wednesday morning out there. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't do that. You
No.
got to bring the hype.
Yeah.
And to do that every single day, oh, man.
It helps to be working with someone who you get along with. Like, that's why Terry DeMonte and I were so successful for so many years, because we're two peas in a pod. We're brothers from another mother, and we enjoy each other's company. And so we were always laughing in the morning. It was like you were sitting around the breakfast table with a couple of buddies.
Right,
That's
right,
what
right.
our show was like. That was what made it successful.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that I'm still able to do that.
Well, I think so. If you still have a job, I mean, you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, if you're holding on to your job in radio, you must be doing something right.
Oh, God. I'm curious to see how things are going to change, and they're changing so quickly. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Oscars last weekend?
I watched the first hour.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. I don't normally watch award shows, but my program director said to me, "You've got to watch the Oscars because
you're going to comment on it. the day after
and that's what people are going to be talking about the day after." And he's right. And I thought Jimmy Kimmel was fantastic, although I read very mixed reviews on him. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
And I thought he was like the comparison for me was Trevor Noah, who I did not enjoy at the Grammys.
He was the Grammys.
He hosted the Grammys, and all of his stuff was very contrived.
Wait, who did the Golden Globes? Oh, it was Joe Coy. It was Joe Coy, and him too wasn't. Jimmy Kimmel was very relaxed. He was very off the cuff. The jokes were funny. It was apolitical. I liked that about his monologue. Except the ending.
What happened at the ending?
He read out a tweet that Donald Trump actually wrote about the Oscars, and he just destroyed Trump.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I guess what I was thinking of is he didn't go down the Gaza Israel road. Which that was my worst fear. I don't want that at the Oscars. Jonathan Glazer brought that later in the show. By that time I had gone to bed, so I missed that, but I saw the replay of it. What I really liked was the first winner, Divine Joy Randolph, I think is her name.
I missed the beginning. See, I got the second half of it.
She won Best Supporting Actress for The Holdovers, and she got up there, and the first thing she said when she stepped up to the podium with her Oscar is, "God is good." And then she said it again. And it was such a demonstration of gratitude and humility. Like she was giving credit, whether it was the God from the Bible or the universe or a power greater than her. She was giving credit to that, to her good fortune. She wasn't up there. And this is in a room full of substantial egos, right? And in some cases, gigantic egos.
Yeah.
She got up there and right out of the gate, first award winner, she showed humility and gratitude for being where she was and having that great and good fortune. And I thought, wow, what a great tone setter for this show.
The one thing about the Oscars, and this is because I used to watch a lot of movies, so when the Oscars would roll around, I had watched most of the movies. I mean, except for the independent ones and all those, those other ones that you probably don't even hear about. But the main films I would always, usually, be aware, and I had already watched them. This time around, I hadn't watched almost any of them.
I saw Oppenheimer, and that was it.
Well, that's for me was the opposite. I saw the Oscars, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time that I watch Oppenheimer. I still hadn't watched it, and I watched it the other day, and it's a fucking incredible movie.
Yeah, awfully so long though.
It is long, but it doesn't drag. I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done a good job at keeping your attention.
Yeah. Well, he's a great filmmaker, that Christopher Nolan.
Jesus,
he won Best Director too, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah. He won Best Director. They won Best Actor, Best Movie. And then I also watched Poor Things from Yorgos Lanthimos, the Greek guy.
Yeah.
That is a fucking incredible
Good too,
movie.
yeah. Did you see The Holdovers?
No.
Okay, I want to see that because Paul Giamatti was nominated for Best Actor, which went to Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. But Paul Giamatti is that was another thing, that speech that Divine Joy Randolph made, she co-starred with him in that movie, it made him cry.
Yeah.
Like you see, they cut to him and he's sitting there, big tear rolling down his face. Yeah. He's such a good actor, and he's the anti-matinee idol.
Yeah.
Like he's just a regular looking guy, a kind of a schlubby looking regular Joe, but he's so talented.
He's so good.
He's so talented, and he seems like such a nice man as well.
Yeah.
And he's never won an Oscar.
Yeah.
I hope his day comes.
I hope so too. There's a lot of those actors, though, right? That they've been around for so long, and they just go kind of unnoticed. What's that British guy that also has never won an Oscar, and it makes absolutely no fucking sense? God,
what was he in?
He played Dracula. Gary Oldman.
Right.
He's British?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does Gary Oldman not have an Oscar?
I don't know.
That's something someone needs to explain to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was British. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's amazing. For me, he's one of the greatest actors out there.
Yeah. Yeah. What's he been in lately?
He was in Oppenheimer. He played Truman.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? Yeah, because you don't know that. No, it's not advertised anywhere.
Yeah.
His name. And then I'm
He's
like,
flying under the radar
yeah.
again.
I'm like, well, that's fucking Gary Oldman. What the fuck? And he's just incredible. He's fucking incredible. So no, but he has a series now. I think it's on Apple TV.
Yes.
He plays this disheveled fucking old
It's
spy.
MI6 or
Yeah,
MI5 or whatever,
and
the
he's
British
so
intelligence
perfect.
agency.
He's so perfect.
Somebody recommended that to me. Have you watched it?
I've watched the first
And?
season and I stopped at the second one. I don't know why. It's good.
Yeah?
It's very good.
But it didn't hold you. If you stopped at the second season, it didn't hold
but
you.
it's not because I didn't like it. I mean, that's how I am. I just binge watch,
Right.
and then I just kind of forget. But it's really good. He's really, like, it's so perfect. Like, it feels that. I guess that's just a sign of a great actor, obviously. It's like this disheveled old apartment, and he gets kind of like side contracts that the MI6 kind of just gives him. He's like, oh, yeah, just give it to that guy now. We don't have time for this shit.
Give it to the old guy, let him take care of it.
And they end up being like the most fucking major crises that have to be dealt with, and you know how it is. It's on Hollywood, but it's the hero kind of typical thing, you know. But he's so fucking amazing. He looks like a filthy fucking guy.
I started to watch the first episode and I got sidetracked with something.
yeah.
I'm going to have to pick it up. I've been watching The New Look on Apple TV, which is about the great Paris French designers, fashion designers during the Nazi occupation of Paris in World War II, specifically Christian Dior and Coco Chanel. And I had no idea what a fucking Coco Chanel was.
Oh yeah,
Just awful. She was a Nazi collaborator.
Really?
She collaborated openly with the Nazis. And she was in it for Coco. She didn't give a shit. Whatever was good for Coco, if designing for the Nazis and hanging out with the Nazis and kowtowing to the Nazis was what was going to get Coco ahead, that's what she did. And at the end of the war, she was lucky they didn't take her out and fucking shoot her.
no way. I didn't even know
because
that.
the resistance was rounding up collaborators left, right, and center. And I thought to myself, how did her brand not only survive but thrive after the war, given that she was such an open Nazi collaborator? And the answer, apparently, is that she was friends with Churchill. Churchill protected her.
Oh wow!
After the war, And I think the actress's name is Juliette Binoche, who plays.
Oh, she's so amazing.
Coco Chanel. You just hate her. You hate her fucking guts.
way.
Yeah.
What's the show called?
It's called the New Look.
I'm gonna check it out. First of all, I love Juliette Binoche. She's amazing.
Well, you're not going to love her in this. You're not going to love her character.
It's funny because there was another movie made on that character with Audrey Tautou, that French girl that plays in Amélie Poulain. I don't know if you saw the Fabuleux Destin d'Amélie Poulain.
No.
Fucking amazing movie. And she also did that religious movie there with Tom Hanks, Da Vinci Code, or whatever the fuck it was, her. So she did a movie where she depicted, I think, Chanel or Coco Chanel. I haven't seen it, so I'm just curious to know if they actually touched on that, the fact that she collaborated with the Nazis, or if it was just the story of that empire.
Yeah, well, I'm well read on World War II, but that is one thing I did not know, that Coco Chanel was a Nazi collaborator.
Wow.
And Christian Dior's character is much more sympathetic. His sister was active in the resistance and was arrested and sent to Ravensbrück, which was a Nazi concentration camp for women. And I don't know, because I'm not far along enough in the series, and I didn't go to the internet and look it up. I don't know if she survived, but where I'm at in the series is he's waiting for her to come home and hoping beyond hope that she survived and she's going to come home. And, his friends and colleagues are saying to him, Christian, you've got to be prepared for the worst. You can't assume that she's coming back, and he refuses to give up faith. He's like almost to the point of irrationality. He's like, no, she's alive. I know she's alive. Meanwhile, how many people came out of concentration camps? Not too many. So I don't know. Like I say, I haven't looked it up deliberately because I want to find out while I'm watching the show.
Juliette Binoche. I loved her in Chocolat. Have you seen Chocolat with Johnny Depp?
Yes, a long time ago when it first
Good
came
movie.
out. Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to watch that. Interesting. So, the Oscars, I mean, not much more exciting than that, I guess. I don't know. It's lost a bit the thing. I remember the Oscars when Billy Crystal used to host
Billy Crystal, I read,
and he was just fucking. He was amazing.
Someone did a survey, a fan poll, like who was your favorite Oscar host, and he was the top of the list.
Yeah,
everybody liked him the best. Yeah,
for sure. Fucking Billy Crystal.
Yeah, I hadn't watched the Oscars in quite some time, and like I say, I watched the first hour the other night, and I was quite impressed. It also occurred to me that. In Hollywood, when you've got that much money, you can make yourself still look good, no matter how old you are, eh? Like without it looking ridiculous.
Who are you referring to?
Well, Michael Keaton, for one. Michael Keaton looked fantastic.
He looks spectacular,
yeah,
this guy.
He looks he looks terrific. And I'm sure that he's had work done.
You think?
You can't, well, probably, yeah. But you can't tell.
Not. Maybe he's just fit and healthy, the guy.
Yeah, but I'm fit and healthy too, but I still got a turkey neck. It's just, it fucking happens, man. And he's about the same age as me.
Yeah.
If I had his kind of dough, I wouldn't have a turkey neck.
You think?
Yeah.
What they do is they do an incision behind the ears, okay, and they pull the skin back.
Yeah?
Yeah, so what they do is they cut here, and then they pull the skin so it retakes the shape as if you were young.
And then all the excess, they just cut it out and then...
Yeah, and they sew it, and they put stitches. Because what happens, it's natural. Over time, everything like...
Oh, of course.
Well, it depends if you're taking care of yourself. Like, look at, what's his name? Mario Lopez. I don't know if you guys remember Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
He's on some morning thing in the U.S. Fucking guy looks spectacular.
Who? Yeah, but he's probably had some work done.
You think?
And I'm sure that, well, yeah, because
Rob Lowe? Rob Lowe looks like a fucking hot son of a bitch.
Yeah, but but cosmetic surgery has come so far. Like, remember the celebrities in the early days of cosmetic surgery who ended up looking really bad?
Yeah.
Like Burt Reynolds was one. Burt Reynolds, he looked awful. But cosmetic surgery, like everything else, has advanced to the point where they can do it really well, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that these Hollywood folks with deep pockets, you know, I'm sure they pay a lot of money for cosmetic touch-ups. They're not going to Fast Eddie's facelift where you're in and out in 20 minutes.
Yeah, they've gotten good. Speaking of touch-ups and all that stuff, you sent an article that's been making the news about the Princess Kate. Here's the thing, man, and we're going to talk about what this whole story is about, but can people just leave them fucking be? Like, there's so much attention on this royal family, and oh, what is she, and why haven't we seen her, and what did she have done, and, you know, and what kind of surgery? Like, fuck off, man.
Well,
Give her some privacy.
People are consumed with celebrity.
Fuck. Like, I understand the royal family; it's a huge deal in the UK. I get it, and probably
it's a
elsewhere in the
huge
world.
deal around the world.
Yeah.
The royals, are you kidding? They're the ultimate celebrities.
How come the other royals don't get that much? Then, do you think there's jealousy? Like, you know, Monaco, Norway, Spain.
Think of the king of Norway's going, fuck, man.
Fuckers.
Why doesn't everyone...
What aren't we doing, man?
Yeah.
We're not doing something right. How fucking
Where's
Charles getting all the
Where's my
attention?
picture?
Yeah,
No, they're probably grateful.
maybe.
Yeah.
Fuck, they're leaving us alone. Yeah, we're not in the spotlight every day.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So she had surgery. Everybody's wondering what's wrong with her. Mm-hmm. Why haven't we seen her? And then apparently she came out of the hospital, so everybody's fucking dying to see a picture of her. And then she posts a picture up that was doctored. It was fucking edited in Photoshop.
And she acknowledged that
did.
she photoshopped it. She said she'd been fiddling around with photo editing, and the editing was on a sleeve, one of the kids' sleeves, and on a zipper on whatever she was wearing, like a sleeve and a zipper. Who doesn't? Like, if I post a picture, I might run it through a filter. You know, I might change the brightness on it. Everybody edits photographs, but this has turned into a gigantic controversy, and the conspiracy theories are running amok. I posted the picture on Facebook, and now...
Because also she doesn't have her wedding ring on in the picture.
Yeah, well, there's another thing, because she's having an affair, or he's having an affair, or she's... It's not even her. It's an AI-generated image because he killed her. Like, it's crazy.
Because they look... people that have time to waste on this shit. That picture was taken from a cover of a magazine. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, I saw that,
it's
too.
It's the exact same picture. Yeah.
Vogue or Vanity Fair or
some stuff
whatever.
like that.
Yeah. But now I posted the picture on my Facebook page, and I said, I don't understand the controversy and conspiracy theories over this picture. I said, maybe I'm not smoking enough pot. I need to smoke more pot and get really paranoid. And already, look, the photo got flagged on my Facebook.
What?
Yeah. It says altered photo. The same altered photo was checked in another post by independent fact checkers. So it doesn't show up now, just that.
But you can still see it if you click on it, or that's just a warning?
Let me see. No, I can't. I can't even see if I click on it. So that now that there I can now if I click on see post. But that makes me now think, well, what are they hiding?
Yeah.
You know, if they're flagging that picture, if that picture's being flagged.
How many tabloid magazines you think survive in England because of the royal family? Like it's their only bread and butter.
I don't know.
You know what's worse than pictures being flagged?
Oh shit!
Pictures being fagged.
There you go. It's not flagged on Twitter. It pops right up on Twitter. And I don't know. Are there still even magazines, or is it just all online?
I don't know.
Like if you go to the grocery store, can you still buy the celebrity magazines at the checkout?
Have you been to Greece lately, Poseidon? No, eh?
No. Not since
Greece has a royal
2015.
family, don't they?
They got rid of them.
Oh, they did. How long ago?
In the 70s.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize.
Maybe even before. Oh no, not the 70s. There was a dictatorship. Maybe in the 70s. They got kicked out and they brought them back in a couple times. And then I think the 70s was final.
Wasn't there a civil war in Greece in the 20th
right
century?
after the Second World War. Yeah.
And we committed more atrocities amongst each other than what the Germans did.
And then after the Civil War, there was a dictatorship in the 60s, and it all ended in 74.
And what were who fought in the Civil War? Who was
It
fighting
was the
against
communists.
who?
It was against the communists. Yeah.
Communists against
Well, the others. Yeah, it was
the people who wanted a democracy.
The normal people,
Yeah.
the normal people. They don't want the communists. Greece was always very attached to Russia. There's always been strong links, obviously because of religion. The
Orthodox, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Even though they're old calendar, Russians, there's always been this huge tie between the churches and everything. Also, the whole movement for Greece's independence started from Russia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from Ukraine, actually. It was
No way.
Yeah, from Odessa. So you had the first, prime minister, Kapodistrias, that came from. He was a Greek living in Russia. So there was a huge Greek minority living in around the Black Sea. So he came from there. So there was always links to Russia. So after the Second World War, after the Yalta Agreement, where they essentially just split up Europe on a fucking napkin.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, you get this. Winston, you get that.
Yeah. So clearly Greece got lucky, probably because of the ties they had with the royal family. So they went to the West, because it makes no sense. Like up until Italy, they drew the line there, and all the Balkans and all of Eastern Europe went to Russia. But Greece is part of the Balkans. It's like it was the easternmost country in Europe. It still is. I mean,
is there a stronger tradition of democracy in Greece than there is in the other Balkan countries?
Maybe, but I mean, at that point, after the Second World War, every European country was just destroyed. There was no sound governance anywhere.
Yeah,
and
Greece included.
Greece included,
because there was not a lot of combat in Greece. There was not a lot of war-related destruction that I'm aware of.
In they had a huge resistance. They had one of the biggest resistance.
Yeah, but I mean, there weren't any big battles and cities destroyed and that kind of thing.
We didn't have cities to destroy to begin with because of the Ottomans.
I mean, it isn't. It isn't really documented, but there were a couple of
major battles.
In Crete. The Battle of Crete was just
Crete. Crete. I'm familiar with. Yeah, but I'm talking like mainland Greece.
No, mostly they were battles against the Italians.
Yeah.
In northwestern Greece.
Well, not necessarily. We resisted. We were the longest resistance in World War II.
But the Greeks and the Italians fighting, how long are they going to fight before somebody goes, you know what, let's eat?
Yeah, exactly. But they did their part, but it wasn't that. I mean, Greece has been part of some, subjected to conquest since forever,
With a combined 219 days with a combined Axis forces.
Yeah, but that was the resistance. But
And
they weren't
after-
like major. What are you talking about? Like major battles, like Stalingrad.
Or Normandy,
Yeah.
stuff like that, like
But after-
major battlefield
Yeah.
engagements.
Okay, no, us it was very guerrilla warfare because we
Yeah.
didn't have we would like we would have to kill their soldiers and pick up their weapons. Like there was a lot of that because we didn't have.
There was a lot of guerrilla style warfare, especially, and there were units that were fighting in the northern front there of Greece. And most of them, those guys, they were adamant communists. They had very close ties to Russia.
Right.
And that's what sucks because essentially they're the ones that resisted.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the war, they're like, fuck you guys, you're
Yeah.
communists. And that's how the whole Civil War started.
What's crazy is sorry, I'm interrupting. After Hitler invaded Greece, he stopped using paratroopers. Did you know that?
Yeah, no more.
Why?
no more-
Because Crete was such a fucking disaster.
destroyed
It
them.
was
They
such a
destroyed
disaster. Like we rattled them, bro. Like
I mean, the Germans won that battle, I believe. They
they took
they
Crete.
won the
Yeah,
battle
yeah,
of
but
Crete,
it was a
but
disastrous-
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, the parachute drop itself, I think, was a
that
big
failed
disaster
miserably.
for them. Yeah.
That failed miserably.
Yeah.
The Cretans.
It's
were-
true.
But even when they took
he never used paratroops after that. I mean, there were paratroop regiments that fought, but they never had any airborne operations after that, except for when they rescued Mussolini from prison. That was an airborne operation by
Okay.
German paratroopers.
So, what was I gonna say? Oh, and another thing that shocked the Germans in World War II was a lot of times when they would fly over a city or a village or a town, they'd see people under scouring to hide. But when they flew over Greece, their planes were getting hit by bullets.
So people weren't running
So people
away.
were
they were fighting.
with the little rifles
Yeah.
that the Greeks had. They were just like,
Fuck you.
yeah, exactly. Fuck you. Bing, bing, bing.
But yeah, what was your initial question? Yeah, so I think they got lucky that they got split up into the Western camp.
Yeah.
So
rather than being part of the Soviet
for sure,
bloc. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, God knows what the hell would have been, what Greece would have been like.
We razzle-frazzled 17,536 Germans and 2,739 Italians.
In the war, in the
World War
entire
II.
war?
Yeah.
Razzle-frazzled.
How many Greeks died?
That's a very good question. I'm checking.
The thing about fighting guerrilla warfare against the Nazis was if you killed a Nazi soldier, they were liable to just take 10 innocent civilians and
The whole
kill
villages,
them,
execute them.
or whole villages and
And it's
kill them in
happened.
Oh my
retaliation.
God!
It's happened.
20,000 to 35,000 military deaths, and then 300,000 to 800,000 civilian and military deaths.
They destroyed entire villages.
Yeah.
There's one I can't remember. I think it's I can't remember the town.
There were
It's well known. It's well documented. They destroyed the whole village. They killed all the men.
Yeah.
Can't remember where it was. It's
Yeah,
in
after World War II, we had to, like, other men from other villages, other islands had to immigrate. They had to move
To repopulate.
to repopulate because there were entire villages wiped out. It was crazy. But even when they captured Crete, I remember this. I don't know who told me this or if I read it. Even when they captured, they hadn't fully captured because what they did was they escaped into the mountains because you don't mess with the Cretans, and they would come down at night and slaughter Nazi soldiers.
Yeah, there's it must have been fucking scary to conduct war in those years because you don't have drones, you don't have that many jets. You just fly over and bomb the fuck out of everything. So you got to get boots to the ground. And when you're going into this territory that you know very little about, and you're fighting in the mountains, because Greece, I mean, it's a very mountainous region, especially in the north. Even in
But I would say even less scary than today because now you can get bamboozled by anything, bro. You can get bamboozled from like 5,000 kilometers away. You'll never see it coming.
dude, there's a kid in his bedroom with a remote control fucking joystick there controlling a drone. I don't know what the hell I did, but on Twitter, every time I go on Twitter, I don't know if I triggered the algorithm or whatever I did, but I always get footage of drone attacks in Russia.
Have you seen those?
It's fucking insane.
Bro, that's crazy.
And
Some dude's face is blown off.
No, but you see, like, they're releasing the footage from the drone, and the last one I saw, there's a drone chasing a Russian. He's running around his tank. The tank is blown up. There's a bunch of bodies all around it, and there's this one guy who obviously saw the drone, and the poor guy is running away from it, and he's just running circles around the tank to try to get away from the drone. And then at some point, you just see the drone.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah,
it goes to snow.
That's not good.
You know,
Yeah.
so obviously we know what happened to that poor guy. But and I'm getting all this kind of footage. Yeah, that shit didn't exist back then. Like, you had to fucking man up and let's go get in the fucking mountains and go attack those Greeks or whatever it is. You know, get into the city that you know nothing about. Obviously, recon missions weren't as detailed as they are today. So you're just going in there blindly, basically. Wondering why so many people lost their lives. Well, fuck yeah, that's why. You know, military intelligence wasn't what it is today.
No.
You know?
I enjoy watching accurate recreations of World War II battles or scenarios.
'Cause they're the best, that's why.
the new Spielberg Hanks series, The Masters of the Air, about the 8th Air Force, of the three things that they've done, Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and now Masters of the Air, this one doesn't hold up against the first two. It really doesn't. It's good, but it's not great. Band of Brothers was great.
Right.
And The Pacific was really good. This one is meh. What I really enjoyed was a series on Amazon Prime called SAS Rogue Heroes, which is about the long-range desert patrols that the British mounted in the North African desert. They were the original Black Ops guys. They would go in behind enemy lines in their jeeps with the machine guns on the back, and they would raid German airfields. And it's so well done. It's so well written and so well acted and so British. And that's why the characters are so good. They're all real life characters. These guys all existed. And there was one guy named Paddy Mayne who was one of the founding officers of the SAS. And like, he'd fucking fight anybody anytime. He was in military jail on numerous occasions for beating up officers or whatever.
So typically British.
Yeah. And there's a great scene where he's standing there with David Sterling, who's also a real character and a badass. And David Sterling makes some reference about wrestling naked in the sand. And Paddy Mayne's character goes, "Never wrestle naked in the sand. Sand under the foreskin is one of the most painful medical conditions known to man." And Sterling's character kind of looks at him and he goes, "Have you been drinking?" And the guy goes, "Aye."
The British humor is just
so well done. SAS Rogue Heroes on Amazon Prime. I can't recommend it strongly enough. It's so good.
I'm gonna check it out. Speaking of comedy, we didn't mention this last week, but fucking Just for Laughs.
Did we not talk about that?
We didn't talk about Just for Laughs. I think we had on our list, but we never got to it. How sad is that whole fucking...
It's pretty sad, and it also stinks to high heaven, because the companies that own Just for Laughs have more money than God. So how are they able to file for creditor protection? I don't know, because I don't know business. I don't understand business. But I guess they obviously, whatever legal loopholes they had to jump through in order to do that,
it's obviously It's obviously a question of management. I had a long conversation with Pantelis the other day about that, and he's like, dude, man, they're getting fucking millions of dollars in subsidies. Not only that, not only is the government sending you money for that festival, but they're getting their crown corporations to what do you call it? To sponsor the event. So you had, let's say, for example, the government of Quebec. I don't know how many millions of dollars they would give to the festival every year. But in addition to that, you had Hydro-Quebec sponsoring, you had Via Rail sponsoring, you had Lotto Quebec sponsoring. So this is additional money.
Yeah. Why would Hydro-Quebec sponsor?
Well, because
they don't have competition.
Whatever. It's publicity. I don't know. Fuck, they're supporting the festival. But all this to say that the government is giving you money because of the festival. So I think it would come out from the tourism department, if I'm not mistaken. But then, like, you know what? Don't worry. Look, we'll get Hydro-Quebec to sponsor you, whatever you need. You know, so they would buy the whole scene or whatever the hell they would get. Same thing for Lotto Quebec. So they had all this money fucking raining in.
And
I don't
ticket
get it.
sales, to my knowledge, were just fine. I mean, everybody goes to the comedy festival.
Yeah.
It's not like it was, a ghost town down there. It was fucking hopping every year.
Look, we've mentioned this so many times on this podcast. I mean, we complain a lot about Montreal. We fucking, we bring news that make us angry. But one thing's for sure: when summertime comes around, Montreal becomes a hub for festivals.
Festival city.
And it starts with the F1.
F1, Osheaga.
I mean, then you have
The Pride Parade.
The Pride Parade is a huge one.
It is. It's a big one. Yeah.
It's Pantelis. It's Poseidon's favorite.
Yeah.
You have the Nuit d'Afrique, and then you have the Jazz Festival and the Comedy Festival. There's so much shit happening in Montreal.
It's a hopping city for sure.
And if you don't travel or if you don't go to Europe or whatever, I think it's the closest you can come, because I mean it's the most European city, I think, probably in North America. I haven't visited too many cities in the U.S.
What else would be what would be close in the U.S.? New Orleans, maybe, but that would just be I think there's a token French flavor to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Whereas, Quebec is full on French.
Fuck, and there's so many things happening. So the fact that you're seeing this sort of news coming out,
it's got to be mismanagement.
For sure,
I can't think of
that was Pantelis' argument. He's like, dude, fuck the money. It's not a question of money. It's a question of management and how they manage these funds, and they haven't done it appropriately. He still believes that somebody might come around
because they've canceled the 2024 festival.
Yeah. So, I mean, because the brand still counts for something. I mean, Just for Laughs is known internationally.
It's 40 years old.
But it's known internationally.
Yeah.
And the sad thing about this whole thing is, okay, we're living the reality here in Montreal. It's sad, whatever. But then when you're hearing stories of huge fucking comics, and it's funny because that day, they announced it on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, I can't remember, last week. On Thursday, I went and saw Joe Coy at the Bell Center. My wife bought tickets with a bunch of other friends. And he comes on, and people know Joe Coy, right? I mean, you know Joe Coy.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
And he opens with that. He's like, "Hey, Montreal, I'm so grateful to be here. This is the city that made me. I came. My goal and my mission was to make it to the Just for Laughs, because the Just for Laughs opened doors for all these comics. And because of Just for Laughs, he got to the Tonight Show, and then from there on, it was just success, right? But his goal was to make it to Just for Laughs, and he was like, man, I worked hard for 12 years, and finally I got, and then he's like, fuck, and then I hear that this is happening. So you hear this shit, and then even Joe Rogan mentioned it on his podcast with he had Kevin James, the guy from King of Queens.
Yeah.
And they were saying how them too, they started in Montreal, how everything happened for them. And it's like, fucking shit, man. We don't know this. I mean, it's 40 years. I'm 43, so obviously I don't know the beginning, the start of the festival.
I remember the early days.
And who was here, and, all these comedians that, springboarded their careers.
I saw Henny Youngman.
What the hell's Henny Youngman?
Henny Youngman was an old comedian who used to take a violin on stage.
Oh, okay.
And his famous line was, "Take my wife, please."
What?
Take my wife, please.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So it's sad. It's fucking sad.
Now, how did Joe Coy spin that into comedy somehow? Or
No,
did he
it was just his introduction. Just introduction.
And how was he? Because someone told me they thought it sucked.
That show?
Yeah.
Look, I don't follow Joe Coy. I went because a bunch of our friends, they're like, let's go. Joe Coy's coming. They were fans. We're like, fuck it, we'll just go, So we got tickets. I laughed, but I laugh at anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm a good judge, but
an arena is the wrong venue for stand-up.
But you know
comedy
what?
to
It
me.
wasn't bad. I thought it was going to be horrible.
'Cause stand-up comedy to me, it's got to be intimate.
Yeah, you need the
and
proximity.
An arena,
Yeah.
You need to see his face. You need to see his expressions.
But the way they do it, Ted, man, it was, first of all, the sound was great, and because I've seen concerts
and
over there.
I suppose there are screens where you can
Huge
watch him.
Screens, and it's like you're watching, and the guy's enormous. It's like I never once looked at the stage.
Really?
Yeah, because you can't see him. We were sitting. It was
I'd rather be in a small room watching him on stage.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, look, when you have big names like that, you can't expect him to go to like the Bordel or like a small club. Like it won't happen here, So you got to do these huge venues. And I was expecting it to be horrible because of the concert experience I've had at the Bell Center, which sucks completely. But it wasn't that bad, man. It was actually very good. And it wasn't the whole arena. Like they only had the first row all around. and then on the floor. So we were sitting on the floor. We were on the last row on the floor, and there was just the first section of rows all around.
How much were tickets?
I don't even know. My wife bought them.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably 100 something each or something like that.
One of the joys of the comedy festival over the years was you might be at a smaller venue somewhere and you never know or who might walk in and go up and do 10 or 12 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember somebody telling me they were at Jimbo's, the Comedy Works upstairs on Bishop Street, and Seinfeld showed up.
No way.
And did a set. Awesome. Yeah, and this is like early 90s when his show had just started, and he was the thing.
For sure.
You know, can you imagine you're sitting there and a fucking Jerry Seinfeld shows up? I saw Louis C.K.
Oh, yeah.
at the Comedy Works.
See, this is what's amazing, because our city brings in this kind of talent.
Yeah.
You may not know about it, like, it's Louis C.K. Oh, yeah. But fuck, yeah, he's here every summer, or maybe. What's his name? Kevin Hart every summer.
Yeah.
Huge fucking names that cross through Montreal.
Yeah. Poseidon, you know who Louis C.K. is?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know that he had the scandal, right?
Yes.
Where he basically got canceled for a few years because he was...
but you know what he did? He's like, you know what? Fuck everyone. You want to cancel me? Cancel me.
Yeah.
I'm
and then
so
he came
much
back.
bigger than you. No, it's not that. He created his own online thing. It's
Presence.
He has a website, and everything he does, he releases it on that website.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But what made me laugh was the allegation against him was he was basically abusing his position of power and privilege in the industry, and and manipulating younger women in the industry, and he was accused of masturbating in front of these younger female comics. And so when he recorded his comeback album, he said to the audience at one point, he goes, you want to talk about it? And they all knew what he was talking about. They're all, yeah! And he goes, listen, he says, I like masturbating, and I don't like being alone.
Yeah, I think I saw that. But wouldn't he ask for permission? Wasn't there a whole thing of like...
I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
He got lucky because in the end, it wasn't that bad.
Would you mind if I rubbed one out in front of you? Would you be okay?
It's like, look, if you don't like it, just don't look, dude. It's like, fuck, what's your problem? No. But yeah, no, Louis C.K. is fucking amazing.
I mean, another guy who got more or less canceled and then went on to bigger and better things was... Shane Gillis, who hosted Saturday Night Live a couple of weeks ago.
What a fucking way to stick it. Like, first of all, you got to give it to Saturday Night Live. I think they realized, I think we made a mistake here, guys. I think, let's just do the honorable thing, and let's do something that nobody will expect us to do, and invite him to fucking host.
Yeah, if you don't know, he was fired as a writer and performer on the show.
He lasted, 24 hours?
He didn't even appear on the show. He never appeared on the show because someone found... a clip of a podcast where he called Chinese people chinks or something like that. Like, not nice what he did, but relatively speaking, a benign kind of thing that you hear on podcasts all the time. But of course, the usual suspects got a hold of it, raised a big stink, and Saturday Night Live fired him. And then he went on and became a huge stand-up comedy star, and so they invited him back to host. And I thought the show was pretty good. What I saw, I thought the weakest part of the show was his monologue, because he seemed a little unsure of himself. He wasn't sure how it was going to go with his monologue, and I didn't find that he had the kind of confidence that you normally see him display in stand-up comedy. But some of the skits were great.
Yeah.
They were just fucking great.
But you know what? Even the monologue I appreciated, because if you think of it, he got fired because he was being whatever, disrespectful or whatever. Yeah. And his entire monologue, he's just being, talking about mental retardation in his family.
I had seen him. I saw him do the same material on his Netflix special, and he was a lot stronger and more confident on the Netflix special. Like, you could see he was holding back a little bit on the SNL monologue because he really didn't know. He was like, should I do it? Am I going to go there?
It's not TV, but he said, man, that's not funny. No, well, guys, I'm sorry, man. I don't have TV content.
He talks about Down syndrome, having Down syndrome in his family. And, he said, you can always tell when someone is not familiar experience with Down syndrome, because he says, I'll say to them, I have Down syndrome. It runs in, I don't have Down syndrome, but Down syndrome runs in my family. I have family members who have it. And the people go, oh, are they okay? Yeah, man, they're great. They're doing better than anybody I know.
The funniest joke what he said is that because his daughter, I think, that has it, but they ended up adopting 2 black kids. And that joke, he's like, man, I'm just looking forward to that day where, my niece is going to go to school and she'll be made fun of. And then you have 2 black kids just jump out of the bush and just beat the shit out of them. It was just so fucking funny. Oh, man. Don't fucking talk about my sister.
Yeah. At the end of the day, funny is funny.
Yeah, man.
And if you don't like it, fuck off.
Seriously, I never understood
watch it,
man. Why are you so?
Go
why are you
away,
getting
go
all
somewhere else.
just fucking offensive? And it's like, fuck off. Yeah, man, it's comedy.
Yeah.
Like the person doing the bit doesn't take himself or herself seriously to begin with. So why are you taking the joke so seriously? I don't get it. I
Because
never
people who
understood
take
it.
themselves too seriously and who think that they have the right to tell you how you should think and what you can and cannot say. You know what?
Yeah. Anyways, all this to
Did
say,
you guys see in Belgium, somebody was thrown in jail, I think a minister or something, for like saying the word fuck?
oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like a minister, you mean like a church, like a pastor, or a minister in government?
So, Belgian politician. Dries van Lagenhove. First of all, just because of that
Love the name. Love it.
Flemish.
Just because of the name, he should have been thrown in prison. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison for being in a group chat with offensive memes.
How stupid are we? I saw this. I thought you were going to mention this other thing because we're talking about comedy. There's a comic in the Netherlands who made fun of the mayor of whatever city he's from, and he posted on social media. I think I saw it on Twitter. There were like fucking 7 cops that showed up to his house to arrest the guy.
Jesus
because he made fun of the mayor. What the where?
Well,
where?
you know what? We're headed in that direction.
Look
with
at the
this.
articles. Look at the articles. Belgium's far-right prodigy gets prison term for inciting violence.
Far right.
Well, we don't know.
You know what's far right now? Far right is when you say there are 2 genders, male and female. That makes you
You're
far
extremist.
right. Yeah, you're an extremist now. Yeah. We're headed in that direction with this online harms bill.
Yeah.
That's some pretty dangerous stuff. That's not just a slippery slope. That's a full-on free fall to censorship.
Let me tell you something, guys. And I think I've mentioned this before. I've reached a point, and I feel bad about what I'm about to say, but because I have a political podcast, so every week I look for content in order to do our show. And it sucks for the people that want to hear the news, but I can't anymore. Every time I look for news at the federal level and I'm scrolling through Twitter or whatever accounts, and I come across Justin Trudeau or any fucking one of his senior, cabinet ministers, the Chrystia Freeland or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even stop anymore to look at. I just scroll right through it. I can't anymore
Because you know what virtue signaling garbage it's going to be?
I just don't fucking care. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about it. I know it's probably going to be stupid, and even if it's not, I'm like, I can't anymore. There's this reflex inside me. It's like fuck off. Just scroll. Fuck off. I can't do it anymore. I'm repulsed.
Is it Politique Parlant? Is that your show?
Politiquement parlant. Oh my God, guys, yeah.
Tell your story. This is great.
Did you get the thing I sent you, Poseidon?
What? Sorry?
I sent it an email. You don't have to put it up, but I just wanted to know if you were aware. So this is what happens,
We
guys.
need to talk about that show more often because lots of people listen to and watch that show. We need to get them over here to watch this show.
Yeah. So, this is a show that's taken off since last October, November, and this year, since January-ish.
What's the name of it again?
Politiquement parlant. So politically speaking, basically. Yeah. So, and since the beginning of the year, it's been fucking growing incredibly, much to our surprise.
It's you and?
It's me and a former colleague of mine, Salim, who's very well connected to the media. His wife actually works at a media, so she's well known. So they've been press attachés. They've worked on the Hill. They're very well connected. Anyway, and we started this year, and we started bringing more and more guests, and it picked up, and everybody's been wanting to come on the show. It's very niche, but because of who we are, mostly Salim, they know him, and they tune into it.
What's his last name?
Salim Idrisi.
Okay.
So, and we brought in every party leader in Quebec. Like, it's gotten a lot of attention.
You've had all the party leaders except the
for
premier,
Legault,
right?
except for Legault. And
Do you think that'll happen?
look, the invitation is there. We're
Okay.
communicating with his office. He's obviously very busy. He's the premier. I doubt he's going to come and do it, especially after what happened now.
Well, so
this is the story.
I derailed your story.
So among the guests that we had 2 weeks ago, we had Pascal Bérubé. Pascal Bérubé is one of the longest serving MNAs in the National Assembly. He was elected in 2007. Like the older
elder
than him,
statesman.
it's Legault. They call him the doyen. He's the oldest guy in Parliament, not oldest in age, but the oldest serving member of Parliament, like I think 25 years or something like that. And then after that, it's the class of 2007 in which Pascal Bérubé came in. A very well-respected person in the PQ, very influential person in the PQ, played a huge role in a lot of the leadership campaigns. He served as an interim leader twice when they lost their elections. Anyway, he comes on the podcast, huge following. And he was probably one of the greater guests that we've had. Very relaxed, very comfortable. And he actually did what every podcast host wishes. The exchange, the story. Tell me about it. So we have a political podcast, and it wasn't designed to say, so this is what happened in the news. It's not that. It's more of the backstage, how it works, and we talk and we analyze. So Pascal Bérubé comes on, and he just understands the concept, understands what he's supposed to do, and he goes straight into stories.
He's a good guest.
And it's amazing. We're fucking laughing with the guy, and how was this? What about then? How about when you started? And here's the funny thing with Pascal Bérubé. He started in politics. He was personally recruited by François Legault when François Legault was a minister in the 90s under Landry's government. So he picked him up, he found him, and he recruited him. He became his staffer. So Pascal Bérubé knows Legault very well. He's worked with him. They've developed a huge friendship over the years. And now Legault left the PQ, created his own party, and he's the premier now. So, and the question I asked him was, and that's how it all started, basically, and we'll get to the point eventually. I go, dude, how does it feel now?
You didn't call him dude.
No, I go, how does it feel now? You have all this story and this connection with him. You get up in the house, and you're like, oh, I got a fucking good question. Oh, yeah. And then you look, and it's your buddy sitting across the floor. And so he goes off into explaining how, look, man, this is how politics works. And yeah, we're against each other, but, there's a huge level of respect that we still have. And there's a huge friendship that we still maintain. And I still hold him in high esteem and blah, blah, blah. And then while saying that story, to illustrate that example, he goes off and he says, I'll tell you one example. I remember it was on a Friday during COVID. I was in Montreal and I shoot him a text and he's like, hey, where are you? You're in Montreal? Come by my office. I'll bring a bottle of wine. And we're like, oh, that's awesome. It goes like, nobody will never know what we discussed, but we spent the whole afternoon talking politics, and it was great. It reminded us of older times and stuff. And then at some point, I told him, I got to go now because you fucking put a curfew. And we start laughing. And then he's like, I think he said it jokingly. He's like, and then, the premier told me, hey, do you want me to sign you a paper? And it was just delightful. It was a very pleasant story.
That's a great story.
It's amazing. So we clipped that fucking thing. It was 60 seconds, like a minute, and we posted it. And last weekend, I started getting notifications. The fucking story, the clip was getting hits like crazy. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Oh, it's like about 2 weeks late now, People are really,
bring it up?
No, you don't have to. You don't
so
have
this
to.
was 2 weeks after you had posted it?
Yeah, because we posted already a newer episode last week. So
Right.
that episode was from the week before. So I'm like, oh, fuck, it's getting a lot of traction. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. This is over the weekend.
I guess it starts with one big account must have
I don't know what
retweeted
happened.
or shared
People, it was moving. So obviously
Yeah.
they started sharing it around, whatever. And then Monday morning, the phone starts fucking ringing. The messages start coming in. Salim is calling me fucking panicked, And I was like, what the fuck's going on? He goes, dude, we were on Paul Arcand in the fucking morning. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, you didn't, I'm like, fucking no, I don't wake up at fucking 6:30 anymore. But what are you fucking, so Paul Arcand, Monday morning, he has a segment where he has this guy and he brings in the top stories, what's happening online and what's gaining traction and, what's gaining attention and what's probably going to, go through the week or, whatever. And the guy mentioned that clip and they play it online on radio. And my initial thought was like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're on Paul Arcand. This is, like you said, the most listened to fucking station in Canada, especially in Quebec. Everybody listens to Paul Arcand. And that was it. They didn't comment on it. They just said, it's gone viral, blah, blah, blah. And this is what he said. And the guy said, I went and I looked into more details. And, there was a period of time where, you were allowed to see other people. And it just ended there. And then it fucking exploded. Like, because of it was on Paul Arcand, LCN picked it up yesterday morning. It was on LCN, so they're playing the clip online, and it's going crazy. It went on Mordu de la Politique, so it's like a panel thing they have every noon on RDI, on the French one as well. So they analyzed it there, and the guy that basically took that and he ran with it was Éric Duhem, who's the leader of the Conservatives. He fucking did a press conference. He did a press release about it, and he's really attacking the government, and he went fucking downtown on them. He's like, oh man, this is hypocrisy at its best, and what the hell are they doing? People couldn't see their grandparents. They were dying in their excrement in the fucking seniors residence. People couldn't access them. They couldn't even hold funerals for them. And here we have Pascal Bérubé fucking enjoying some wine with Legault. Mathieu Bock-Côté, one of the more controversial right-wing separatists, fucking wrote an article about it in the Journal de Montréal. There were caricatures that were done.
Memes?
Yeah, no, they're like caricatures in newspapers. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Cartoons, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? So, to the point where this morning, Pascal Bérubé called, my buddy Salim, and he's like, look, dude, do you guys mind taking down that clip? I got scared because I thought he wanted to take down the whole episode, but he goes, no, take down that clip. And initially I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want to start doing that shit. You know what I mean? But we had to, because the guy's getting threats. People are calling him, they're messaging him, they're calling his office, threatening him. Fuck you, we're going to find you, we're going to kill you. You're
really?
Yeah,
death
man.
threats.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He's getting death threats because the guy went and had a meeting with the premier, where it's more than just a premier. Everyone knows they're friends. They know each other.
Yeah.
And so he had to make a statement and said, listen, we respected all the rules. It was during COVID. It was the period during COVID where we were allowed to see each other. And I respected the rules. There was a curfew. I left before the curfew. And we're allowed to fucking meet up with a premier and discuss whatever we want. And there's no secret. Everybody knows that they're friends. And it's gone off the fucking rails. And to me, it's not something that I'm used to, obviously. And I was just fucking laughing about it. To me, it's a joke. It's like, but people are fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, people are just looking for reasons to be angry and offended, it seems.
It's not crazy.
And social media gives everybody an outlet to express their anger now.
Like the notifications were coming in, and I was reading them, and I was laughing. Ted, I was laughing. I was like, oh, fucking who is writing,
And great for your show.
It
what
was
great
amazing.
exposure for your
It was
show.
fucking amazing.
Do you know how many subscribers you picked up from the?
We got 30. We got 30 subscribers just on Tuesday.
Okay.
On YouTube. The channel now, we surpassed the 500 mark. We're almost close to 600. That one short, that one clip, that 1 minute clip that we put as a short on YouTube hit close to 8,000 views, which is way more than any of our other episodes. I mean, it's a small podcast. Yeah. It's very niche. So we're like, what the fuck? And then on Instagram, I put it up as a reel, and that hit like over 70,000 views.
Wow.
And it's a minute fucking clip. Just a fun story, Anyway. It's great for us, but at the same time, it sucks that this guy, because of us, now he has to go through this whole thing, right?
Yeah, but it's not your fault.
No, of course, not my fault. And it's funny because I was getting messages as well, and one of the guys that messaged me was Pierre Fitzgibbon. He's the Minister of Economy and Energy, whatever. One of the more important ministers. His chief of staff were very good friends. This guy Alexandre. And he messages me and he's like, dude, what the fuck did you guys do? Because they're in government now. The premier's office had to respond to this shit. They had to come out and make a statement about it.
And what was their statement? What was his office's statement?
It was on RDI. They mentioned it, and he came out and said the premier met at that time. He was meeting with a lot of members of the opposition because of COVID, and it was a work meeting. Blah blah blah. So they played it off as if it wasn't just random, where the guy text messaged me, "Oh, come by." It was a scheduled work meeting. So that's how they played it. Now, whatever's true, I don't know.
That's the exact opposite of the story that Bérubé told
exactly.
you. Bérubé is bringing a bottle of wine, but and
maybe
Legault was joking. You want me to sign? You want me to sign your paper?
But maybe the premier story is true in Bérubé because he's on a podcast and it's a lighter format. He just fucking joked around. Goes, we message each other. Oh, come by, whatever. And he played it off like that. Or his story is the real one. And Legault is making it official, saying, no, this, it's official business.
I would subscribe to the latter theory. I think it sounds to me like Legault
is covering up,
is in damage control mode.
Yeah. So anyway, so he messages me, my friend Alexander. He's like, dude, what the fuck, man? I go, do you guys, because we had invited him to come before Christmas and he refused.
Legault.
No, my friend Alexander.
Oh, okay.
Because they were doing horribly in the polls, and he goes, yeah, George,
not a good
it's not
time?
the right time for us to be making public appearances, So I'm like, okay. So then he sends me the message. I'm like, did you change your mind? Are you going to come on? And I goes, I don't think so, but good for you guys. You're getting a lot of free publicity. I'm like, yeah, I'm not complaining, but it's reached the high ranks of government. And
if the premier's office is issuing a statement on it,
and it's ridiculous. It's a stupid fucking clip about a guy just. Random story about him in the.
Well, again, it gave people something to be outraged about. It gave Eric Duhem a political opportunity.
It opened the door for him to go back to his roots, because let's remind everyone, that's how he gained his notoriety. The support that he got was mainly frustrated liberals, sovereignists, caquists, whatever. Anyone that was frustrated because of all the measures that were imposed on us during COVID just fucking went to Eric Duhem and they're like, here, you are our voice now. Go and fucking tell them how stupid they are. And that's what Eric Duhem did. And he grew immensely because of what happened during COVID. It quieted down because nobody thinks of COVID now. But now that this story came out,
he was staunch anti-COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
What about a vaccine? Where does he stand on that?
I'm not sure what his position was on the vaccines. I can't remember. But I think he was against the government imposing the vaccine.
Right.
I don't think he was against the vaccine. But he was against them imposing it. He was against them closing down businesses. He was against the curfew.
See that, and in this day and age, that makes him an extremist.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, those are totally. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's the normal attitude that you're supposed to have. The problem,
it's balanced. The
problem with that is that he picked up all these fucking angry people that are, conspiracy theorists, and you know what I mean.
So like the MAGA crowd of Quebec, kind of thing,
right? So everything he would do was followed by this. Well, the comments that I got that we've been getting on that clip, but on other government policy, right? So everybody's like, who the fuck is following this guy? Dude, is he reading this shit,
And where is he in the Quebec polls?
He's not doing bad. In the last polls, they have the Conservative Party gaining anywhere between 1 to 9 seats.
Okay.
So he was on our podcast too, Eric Duhem, and he's like, well, in the last polls, Legault is 0 to I don't know how many seats, and we are 1 to 9. So at least we're guaranteed 1.
Yeah.
Legault might have 0.
Where are they? How many seats do they have?
They have 0 seats.
They don't have any.
They don't have any
Have they
seats.
ever?
No. Well, probably in the past. I mean, but I don't remember, at least in my lifetime, it wasn't. It was
Nor do
liberal.
I.
It was
Yeah.
liberal PQ. I think before, in the 1800s, probably
Right.
like late 1800s, there was probably a Conservative Party or something like that. But no, they're nowhere there. They're nowhere on the map. But now they're picking up. Especially with the rise of Poilievre. There's a spillover into Quebec as well.
What would their one guaranteed seat be?
It's probably going to be around the region of Quebec.
Yeah, and is that him? Is he in that? Is he in that region?
Where did he run? Yeah, he ran in the region of Quebec. I can't remember exactly what riding he ran in. I think he was in the Northern Shore. I can't remember. And it's whatever. But most of the seats that he is projected to win are around the Quebec region. Yeah. So, and I think he might actually win next time around. He might actually win.
His riding.
Or more than one seat.
Yeah,
I'm ready to give that to him. The problem with Duhem in the last election is that despite the fact that he had enormous support and he had record number of members, more than any other party, he beat every other party in terms of fundraising. They did really well. It wasn't concentrated enough in 1 or 2 or 3 specific ridings for him to win. It was spread out all over Quebec. So when you were looking at the polls, you're like, oh, fuck, this guy's doing well. He got almost 14% of the vote, but it was so spread out that it wasn't concentrated enough in one region for him to actually pick up a riding.
Yeah. What's his background?
Eric Duhem has always been involved in politics. He worked as a staffer for the Bloc Québécois in the 90s when it was created. And then he went on to work for the Conservatives in Ottawa, and that's where he met Poilievre as a young, volunteer and stuff. So they maintained that friendship. And then that's it. He helped Mario Dumont when he created the ADQ here in Quebec. He served in his cabinet. I can't remember what. I don't think he was a chief of staff, but he was there. He was working with with Mario Dumont all the way until 2008 when Dumont stepped down.
So he's always made his living in politics.
Yeah. And
whether
then in
it's as a
2008,
politician or behind the scenes.
Yeah, and then in 2008 when Dumont resigned, he left the ADQ and became a radio host on one of those radio channels in Quebec City that have gotten that reputation of being extremists, right? Like right wing.
Yeah. Who was the guy? Who was the shock jock in Quebec City?
It's Radio X. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. They're two guys that have come under fire, eh?
Look that up, Poseidon, will you?
Controversial radio host Radio X.
Yeah, sort of like the Howard Stern of
they got in trouble a couple times, these guys. So I don't know if he was on Radio X or another station, but whatever. He was very popular. He was a very popular radio host in the region of Quebec, and that's where most of his support comes from anyway. So that's what happened with our podcast, guys. The last couple of days, it's been fucking.
I think that's great for you guys. I like that. That's put you guys on the map. So the clip,
what we did now, we made it private because I didn't want to remove it. I mean, it's done so well, so we just put it private for now. We'll see maybe in a couple of months when everything just quiets down, we're gonna bring it back up.
Right. It's not like I find the poll, but it's not saying the hosts' names.
Oh yeah. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I want to talk about what's happening in Haiti. I don't know if you've been following.
I haven't been following it closely, but whenever there's mention of cannibalism and the guy who's leading one of the rebel factions
he's called
Barbecue. Because he fucking barbecues his victims.
Is that really why?
Yes, that's why they call him Barbecue.
This guy's a former police officer.
He sets people on fire.
Yeah.
Wow, they won't say his name, eh? Jesus Christ.
Are you talking about Buddy in Quebec City?
Yeah.
If you search Radio X, they're not gonna. Something's gonna come out, I think.
There's so many. Chris Moyles, Johnny Vaughan of Vaughan, Toby Tarrant, Ed Gamble.
No. Hold on. Let me look on Twitter quick, because I think I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm looking at their current
Dominique
roster.
Moret, Denis Gravel, Jeff Fillion.
Jeff Fillion,
that's the guy. Yeah. Is he still on there?
Yeah. I think he's still on. Jeff Fillion. Yeah.
Haiti is like that.
I was having a conversation yesterday with my wife, and I thought, imagine living in a country where you have no idea what the fuck is going to happen from today to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where you don't know if you step out of your house if you're going to get shot
or eaten.
Or hacked to death with a machete.
Where you don't know if your kids' lives are in danger, your schools are closed because of of safety concerns. You can't fly out, you can't fly in. The ports are taken over by gangsters. This is such a mess, and I feel bad for Haiti because it's one just continuous, like the story just keeps repeating itself.
I was going to say, when was the last time there was any extended period of political or civil stability in Haiti?
Never.
And does it not
You
share
had the Duvalier regime that went from father to son for fucking decades.
Papa Doc and Baby Doc. Yeah. They weren't the nicest guys in town, I don't think.
of course not.
Yeah.
And then
they're
they
dictators.
Of course, dictators. And then they, the last one died. I think I don't know what happened to him. And then the last government, the guy was assassinated. And then the guy that took over, he's been accused of plotting the assassination. So he fled to Puerto Rico or Costa Rica. Puerto Rico, I think.
Does Haiti not share the same island with the Dominican Republic?
Yeah.
So how is the Dominican Republic
Isn't that amazing?
Stable and secure? Like, I don't know right now if I'd want to go to the Dominican Republic
never an issue.
on vacation. I know. There's never been an issue. Never been an issue.
Yeah.
But it's the same island.
Of course. Yeah.
How does it not spill over?
Maybe they have a tough border control over there. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
But they don't want them Haitians coming over.
No. Fuck no.
It's incredible. So what's been happening, and I was reading this analysis happening, every fucking government, or the last couple of governments, they've relied so heavily on these local little gangsters and paid off police officers to quote unquote control the population to the point where they have now the power. They're like, you know what, you guys have been feeding us for so long and you've been fucking up, or you know what, we're going to take over right now. So this is where this guy Barbecue comes up, because I think he was a former police officer.
What a name. What's his name?
Jimmy
Barbecue?
something.
Wow.
Barbecue.
Look him up, Poseidon. See if you
Barbecue.
can find it. Yeah, Haitian gangster leader Barbecue.
So they took over the airport. They took over the ports. Nothing comes in. Nothing comes out.
Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier.
There you go.
What a name. What a name. But
You should use that as your stripper name.
before we found out about the cannibals doing barbecues on people, before, like, we didn't know the connotations that barbecue had in his name. Now that we found out about the cannibals, we're like, holy shit, what does barbecue mean?
I'm
You know what I mean?
fucking barbecue
It's like
you on
shit.
the grill.
I wonder what kind of sauce he uses.
No wonder.
Sweet and sour?
So they've taken over. They
He uses a natural sauce.
but they've broken into like the biggest prison. I heard like a fucking So they broke into.
I'm ashamed of myself that I know what you're talking about.
Let's just say it has the same color as sour cream.
No, it's not.
But not the same texture. And much sweeter.
Caesar dressing.
See, this is why I hope that my employers don't watch the podcast.
It's food. We're talking about food. Anyway, so
Of course, we're just we're foodies.
Yeah,
that's
that's
us.
it.
We're foodies.
Barbecue. Who doesn't like barbecue?
Who doesn't like barbecue?
They broke into, I think, the biggest prison, and they fucking released all
they
these
let
criminals.
everybody out, eh?
It's insane. It's insane what is happening. They were calling on the prime minister to resign so that they can bring up a new government. A lot of pressure. It's been going on for over a week now. And yesterday,
He is resigning, isn't he?
He announced that he would be resigning. That there's a provisional government that's going to take place, and that he'd be there to guarantee a peaceful kind of transfer of power. The problem is that this guy now says, that's not good enough. Fuck you. You're not going to decide who's going to come
Barbecue?
in. Yeah, Barbecue is like, we're going to decide. So I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel over here, especially when you have these guys thinking that they're in control. Who's going to fucking take care of them?
We're actually in control.
Well, they're for sure they're in control. But you trust these people? This is like...
Whoa, what do you mean by these people?
This group of anarchists.
Barbecue and his buddies.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
The barbecues.
They just enjoy a good cookout.
So this
Do you
guy
think his
from
friends, his casual friends can call him BBQ?
BBQ.
Hey, BBQ.
Yeah. So it seems as though he's pretty adamant on staying there and holding on to whatever power he thinks he has. At some point, though, these guys need to return back to jail. I don't know.
Or die.
Yeah.
There's no room for
So
cannibalism.
what's going to happen? And it's not like they have the population that has the means to revolt, right? Against these guys.
Well, there's a lot of poverty, no?
Of course.
In Haiti?
Yeah.
Also, they were malnourished for years, man.
Everything is bad.
Their population.
Everything. And it just sucks because this is one country that just can't seem to get a break.
Do you know what the
I blame the Clintons.
Conan O'Brien connection?
Conan O'Brien
is-
Conan O'Brien has a show where he traveled the world. I can't remember what the fuck it was called. It was actually pretty entertaining. It was nice.
Well, he's entertaining. He's a funny guy.
He's fucking funny. And he went to Haiti. And I think I saw that episode. What the fuck is it called? What's Conan O'Brien's travel show, man? Look it up. And there was a segment in that show where he was walking, I don't know, some public market or whatever, and people, he's American, and nothing happened to him, but there was a lot of animosity because
Conan without borders.
Conan Without Borders, yeah. Now they changed it because they paused during COVID and they
Or
picked it up
Conan
again.
O'Brien must go.
That's what it's called now.
Yeah,
Conan
yeah,
O'Brien
yeah.
must go.
So he's walking through the market and people
And
are
there's
being
a lot
hostile towards
yeah,
him?
because of Trump. Trump had just gotten elected, or it was
Okay.
soon after he got elected, or it was, I think, at the time where he called them garbage people or whatever.
Oh, shithole.
Shithole countries.
country.
Yeah. But he played it off like a master. He just sat there, listened to them, joked around with them. At the end, everybody was laughing with him, basically.
But he came under fire. I never understood why Conan,
So that's the connection between him and Haiti. He
Okay,
went there,
because
he
I've
visited.
seen his name come up in the last few days. I've seen Sean Penn's name come up in connection with
Yeah.
Haiti the last 2 days.
Yeah, Sean Penn was-
and the spin has been, it's been a right-wing spin, and it's sort of like, what do you have to say about Haiti now, Conan O'Brien?
But-
what do you have to say about Haiti now, Sean Penn?
But it's so
you know
stupid. I
what
mean, you
bothers
can't
me?
fucking target people that have visited these countries because of a show.
You know what bothers me about that, Ted, is that he visited and all he wrote was Haiti is a beautiful country, which in the setting that he was in the sea, swimming, drinking, like that was the picture. Like Haiti is a beautiful country.
He exposed the darker sides of it, obviously, but most of it was,
Of course, but
it's a comedy show. But Sean Penn has been massively involved in Haiti. I think ever since the earthquake that happened. And all that
Oh,
stuff.
that's suspicious.
No, but he's been doing that in a lot of, like, Sean Penn, man. He's fucking everywhere. Wherever there's a crisis, Sean Penn is there.
That's suspicious. Can I
He's
address
very
something?
activist. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I understand. And I'm sorry I'm interrupting here. I understand helping people out, but the fact that you want to actively always go to wherever there's a crisis is a little bit suspicious, I find.
No, look, man. They have the means and they have the contacts and the connections. Wasn't he the one that fucking found El Chapo or whatever the fuck it was? What's that story with Sean Penn that they
apparently he snitched or something?
Yeah, they made up this whole thing that I want to interview you, and
Apparently he was friends with him.
I don't know if they were friends, but they managed.
He interviewed him.
Yeah, they managed to put up this whole fucking sham of a fucking interview so that they can figure out where he is, and they picked him up. I think was it El Chapo? It was some fucking criminal.
That's not very smart.
Guzman. Sorry, it was Guzman.
Was Guzman El Chapo? Is it?
Isn't
are they the same
it El
person?
Chapo? I think it's the same guy, right?
Maybe, yeah.
But I don't
So
think
Penn
I'd
had
want to.
become involved in a movie project about Guzman set up by Del Castillo and two accompanying Argentinian producers, in which the FBI hoped it would help lure Guzman out of hiding.
I don't think I'd want to be on El Chapo's bad side.
Fucking shit, dude. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Because, okay,
He's
you
gonna
got
be
him,
looking over
but
his
behind
shoulder.
him,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
fucking thousands of people now that have your name on their list.
Yeah, and you know he's got El Chapo's got money stashed away somewhere, and he can say to someone, whoever goes and kills Sean Penn gets $1 million kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, you got to have balls to fucking even do that.
Yeah.
Unless, I don't know, maybe he really wanted to interview the guy and he got squeezed by the FBI or whatever.
Yeah.
Where is he and
I don't know.
that kind of stuff? I don't know. Let me, time's running out. I want to talk what's more important. CBC, humanitarian corridor. The budget is fucking boring. We're not going to mention it. Just very quickly, historic deficits. The Legault government messed up royally.
Wow.
$11 billion deficit, the biggest in Quebec's history. I don't know how he's going to come up with a plan, but hopefully it doesn't fuck up our economy. Let's move on. When the unfortunate events, the fucking terrorist events happened on October 7th that we've spoken about a couple times here,
What terrorist event?
between Hamas and Israel.
Oh,
At that time, when all these countries were pretty much taking up their position on who they're going to support and and all that stuff was happening, there was one little country that was mobilizing and lobbying internationally to create a humanitarian corridor to at least help out the people in Gaza. Knowing fully well that the repercussions of that war would be fucking tragic, right? Now, again, this is not in support of Hamas or anything, and we've mentioned this. The people, the Palestinians, have nothing to do with Hamas, and what's happening on the ground is disastrous. It's horrible, and we're looking at the images, and they definitely don't deserve to have this sort of happening to them. And the little country is Cyprus, which is literally right across Israel in the Mediterranean, the Eastern Mediterranean. And for the longest time, they've been pleading with the governments all over the world guys, let's just create a humanitarian corridor. The ships will be leaving Cyprus. It could be easily monitored. You can have NATO monitoring the Mediterranean Sea. The EU involved in the mission to control the humanitarian aid leaving Cyprus. Finally, this week they approved. And I think the first ship left Cyprus, and I think either it arrived or it will be arriving today, or I think it arrived yesterday with humanitarian aid in Palestine. So I just thought it was a good kind of little nudge for Cyprus. Good for them.
Yeah, and a glimmer of hope, maybe.
And you have all these
A positive story.
Canada will be
coming out of that
participating.
whole
Obviously,
thing.
the U.S., the EU. I think Turkey is even involved, which is funny because Turkey and Cyprus. I mean, they've never gone along because they are still occupying the fucking island. But everyone is participating in this mission. Hopefully, it's like you said, some gleam of hope in somehow resolving this issue.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and we've mentioned it many times, I don't think this problem will be resolved as long as Hamas exists. So.
No, that's for sure. And, and you say it's not in the Palestinian people, but did they not elect Hamas as the governing body of Gaza?
Do you trust the elections?
Of course
that
not.
brought Hamas to power.
I don't trust the elections here. Never mind in Gaza.
Oh, no. They were fully legal and free elections happening in Gaza where terrorists took up the fucking
Anyway,
power.
it's a horrible, awful thing. And I spend a lot of time on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's starting to read like Der Stürmer, which was a Nazi propaganda magazine in the 1930s. Like, people are openly saying, fuck the Jews, and the Jews this, and the Jews that, and stuff that a year ago, if you had seen that, it would have been outrageous. And now it's the norm.
It's insane, and I don't think we spoke about that last week either, but there was an incident that happened in front of the fucking Holocaust Museum in Montreal where you had all these pro-Palestinian, maybe even pro-Hamas protesters yelling, kill the fucking Jews. Like, how is that not inciting hatred or violence? How are we just looking at this blindly and not doing anything? How are these people not getting arrested and fucking maybe even deported if you're not here? If you're here as a temporary on a temporary visa or whatever.
Because being pro-Palestinian and anti-Zionist is the flavor of the month. That's how come. And people are scared. Listen to me. People are scared. People are afraid to speak up, and even politicians are afraid to speak up.
I don't think they know fully the extent to which these things can take, and I think, like you said, they're afraid of actually manning up and saying, this is our fucking position. Anyone that comes out and spews any hatred, whether it's Jews towards Muslims or Muslims towards Jews, you're fucking getting picked up. I don't care. You're getting arrested. We don't want this in our streets. You want to demonstrate? Do it fucking peacefully. No problem.
Yeah.
And we've said it many times. I have nothing against people demonstrating against Israeli, the airstrikes and everything happening in Palestine. But you cannot be going out there in front of hospitals, restaurants, cafes, the fucking Holocaust Museum, and yelling fucking kill Jews.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you people, man? What the fuck's wrong with you? But you know what? Okay, you are obviously influenced and you're affected by what's happening. I can understand it. What I don't understand is the silence from the authorities and the people that we're electing in government. That silence, to me, is just incomprehensible.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
We've said this before. 1% of the people make 99% of the noise.
Yeah.
And the one politician I've seen speak up, and not surprisingly, because his community is Anthony Housefather.
Yeah.
Who's a Liberal MP and represents a Montreal riding that is
TMR.
which is predominant. I don't know if it's predominantly Jewish, but it's largely Jewish, and he does.
I think he also reaches into Côte Saint-Luc, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. Like, it's obvious what his position would be. Part of what I don't get is a Jew like. The guy who won the Oscar the other night, Glazer, Jonathan Glazer, is that his name?
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
He won an Oscar. I'm not sure what it was.
It was an independent film, I think. Yeah.
And he got up and he read a statement, and it was basically, we are the Jews against Israel. We are the Jews for Palestine. And I thought to myself, they have a right to take that position, but I thought, Jesus, man, do you think that if the time ever came that they would spare you, you know? Do you think the capos or however you pronounced it, who were the basically the Jewish police in the ghettos and in the concentration camps, you know, they were the people who we're not going to kill you. You act as the police against the other Jews, and we're not going to kill you yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet. You know, at the end of the day, they were all going to go, man. They were all going to go.
For me, it comes down to the lack of political leadership. And again, this is another thing we didn't mention last week, because we had mentioned the previous weeks where Canada had suspended funding to UNRWA because of all these things that came out to the effect that
the allegations that they were involved in October 7th.
And it's a fact now. We know. They had tunnels that were linked to the UNRWA headquarters, and you had all these employees working at UNRWA that participated in the events of October 7th. It's fucking horrible.
But didn't they restore funding?
And that's what happened this week, yeah. So Canada restored funding to UNRWA without even waiting for the investigation. Without even waiting for the investigation. The UN is currently investigating UNRWA. So you have the guy Hillel Neuer that we've mentioned a couple of times on the podcast, who's leading this thing, and he made a lot of noise. And we're waiting for a fucking report to be drafted. Why don't you wait for that report? What are you, stupid? What if tomorrow the report says that, it's linked to terrorist activities? What are you going to do? You're going to remove again the funding? Like, why are you being such a fucking idiot?
Yeah. And it seems to me there's inconsistency, too. If Canada is funding UNRWA, at the same time, I believe Canada's official position is in support of Israel. Is it not? Like, we don't.
Yeah. Look, they're playing both fucking teams.
What's happening both sides. So I guess that's politics, right?
But at the same time, I mean, look, you can fund relief. Look what Cyprus is doing. We need humanitarian aid into fucking Gaza. It doesn't mean that I'm supporting Hamas. Go fuck yourself. This is what you caused, and I have to come now and fix everything. So we have to figure out a solution.
But UNRWA if UNRWA is supportive of Hamas, we're funding UNRWA, then we are supporting Hamas. We are funding Hamas supporters.
Indirectly, you're supporting the fucking terrorist activities. So stop the fucking funding, at least until the investigation and the report from the UN is made public, and that we know exactly what the fuck happened. And you can find alternative ways of funding relief effort to the Palestinians. So I don't know. This week, Melanie Joly was in Israel, and I saw, because I follow her on her social media, they took her to all the sites where all these horrendous things happened. Yeah. I hope she comes back with a clear mind and fucking knocks on that prime minister's doors and said, listen, we need to wake the fuck up. We've taken the wrong decision over here.
Do you think they'll have a quickie before the...
I don't know.
I wanted to go out on a light note.
Yeah.
I think they're more likely for her to peg him.
On a... Good name. On a lighter note, linked to Justin Trudeau, we're going to end on this. I saw today or yesterday his ex-wife is, she's starting to kind of take over her own kind of life away from Justin Trudeau and the politics.
What's she doing?
She's she wrote a book that's going to be coming out soon, explaining that whole thing and her whole experience through the politics and, being the first lady or whatever. I don't know what the fuck the book's going to be about. But
Pegging men of power.
But she was on the cover of Elle magazine, and she looks fantastic, man.
She's a beautiful woman.
She looks
What's her name again?
Sophie Grégoire, cover Elle magazine or something like that.
If she played her cards right, she could be my third wife.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's place a call. We can place a call.
No. We don't place the call. I don't want to appear too anxious.
Okay.
Yeah. I want her to approach me.
She's a good looking lady.
She sure is.
And she's very cool. I've met her. She's much cooler than fucking Justin. Let me tell you that.
I believe it.
But look, she was.
All right. Speaking of Jews, we got to get out of here because I got to go get my mun cookies. I got to go get Paradise. I got to go to Paradise Kosher Paradise, and get my mun cookies.
Shameless plug right there.
You better believe it.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Like always, we'll see you next Wednesday. In the meantime, head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Support the platform. Find yourself a package that works for you, and check out all this content that Pantelis is pumping in into that Patreon channel. I'm Poseidon.com, the Poseidon69 on all platforms. You can follow him. He's trying to grow his YouTube channel, so go help him out. Ted Bird over here, ladies and gentlemen. Soon, very soon, the Standing By podcast will air. Can't wait for that one with our good buddy Terry DeMonte as well. If
Terry will be in the studio. He wants the week he comes in to record the podcast.
Let's do it.
We should have him in again.
For sure. And we're going to do that. You can't say no to that. Fuck, are you kidding me? And if you understand or know or speak French, head on over to Politiquement Parlant. We're making fucking news. So what do you want me to tell you?
Moi, je parle français.
There you have it. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Ciao, bye.